So in any case, let's bring up our first presenter. He is a co-director of the STCA, Freddie Gomez Brownsville chapter. And he's also one of the coordinators of the Freddie Gomez concert. There's one coming up in Brownsville in just a few short weeks. He is a supporter of the Brownsville Society of the Performing Arts. He goes back a long way, back to 1988, where the Smithsonian actually, he was a part of that the CD of 20 songs, if I can say this correctly, was Tacuachito Nights. And there's a wonderful CD of 20 songs that this gentleman was involved in putting together. He's a tremendous friend of Conjunto music. His name is Mr. Timo Redes. Timo, if you can come up and be our first presenter of the evening. There you go, there he is. He is also a retired federal employee, which means that we get him all to ourselves now in Conjunto music. Mr. Redes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm filling in for Mr. Lopez Science. He's been under the weather, battling strep throat, so he can talk. But I could see the connection that he was going to be presenting the Willie Lopez biography, because both of these individuals have a passion for the radio announcers. So nonetheless, I was telling Rick when we were making some notes before coming up here that I do have a connection with Willie. I was born and raised in Brownsville, and back in 1971, in 1970, there was a rash of skyjackings of airplanes to Cuba, and they hired 1,200 sky marshals, and I was lucky to be one of the first 100 marshals, 200, I'm sorry, that got hired. And after 3 years, the program phased out. They gave the responsibility over to the airlines, and we had a choice of being an investigator, staying in Houston, or becoming an inspector and coming back to the border. Well, I was fortunate enough to transfer to the Port of Hidalgo back in 1973. And sure enough, the second week, I was placed on midnights. But we were in our secondary area where we inspected the cars. We always had the Mexican station, their radio station, on. And I got to know, inspect, and say hello to Mr. Lopez. And he did send a hello, a good morning to the inspectors there at the bridge. So that's my connection. Wilfredo Willie Lopez was born in Kingsville, Texas in 1923. Wilfredo had a career as an AM radio announcer for more than 53 years. He lived most of his life in McAllen. Lopez was known as El Mecánico, and his radio program carried the name of Chulas Fronteras del Norte, Beautiful Borders. The program featured regional Mexican music with a specialty being conjunto. The connection to the mechanics, which earned him a broadcast name El Mecánico, began in the 1950s. I think he had, before the program he started was 1958, so this was possibly 1955 or so. When Lopez approached the radio station XEGM in Renosa about airing an advertisement for his auto mechanic shop. He had a master mechanic, Lupe, working for him, but Lupe needed more business. Lopez was looking for an improvised commercial, not just something someone would be reading off a page of a newspaper. He gave this example: si tu troca anda fallando, como que tose y escupe, quítate de andar batallando y llévasela al maestro Lupe. If your truck is misfiring like it is coughing and spitting, stop fussing with it and bring it to the maestro Lupe. So that's how he started. The station manager was impressed with Lopez's wit and asked him to record the commercials himself. Like I was saying, for years he crossed the Hidalgo International Bridge every morning to record the commercial in Renosa, and then drove back to work at the shop in Edinburgh. Before long, XCM got requests from other businessmen who wanted Willie to advertise for them. Little by little, he started selling more ads, and in 1960, Lopez turned the mechanic shop over to his brother. The next phase of his radio career became a radio program inspired by the song Chulas Fronteras, written by Lalo Gonzalez El Piporro. Piporro and Willie were good friends, just like brothers. To record the program, Willie set up a studio inside his home in McAllen. Chulas Fronteras aired from 5:45 till 6 in the morning on two Renosa stations, XCOR 1390 and XCFDE El 1590 AM. The mission of Willie was to revive the conjunto music of pioneers like Narciso Martinez, Pedro Ayala. At this time, this is 1960. At this time, conjunto music had sunk to the lowest point in popularity, just like 1998, when the South Texas Conjunto Association was organized. Gilberto Perez, Lupe Sainz, and others. Tony Tapia and I organized in Brownsville a supporting committee, and we've been supporting them for 20 years. 20 years this April, and the association was created in March. But the thing I didn't realize that Conjunto had a low point back in 1960, because normally that's all we heard. I know, when I was growing up. Nonetheless, armed with a recorder and a label called Del Valle Records, Lopez ventured into the Cantina bars to record Narciso Martinez, Pedro Ayala, our good friend Jimmy Morgan from Brownsville, Jose Flores, Valerio Longoria, Agapito Zúñiga, also one-time Brownsville resident, and Tony de la Rosa. He says that he loved the simplicity and the joy of the accordion afforded to the regional music. Willie Lopez died in 1988 on March 2011. One thing that is not on the script here, he did get inducted to the Tejano Walk of Fame in the year 2000 in Edinburgh, along with Pepe Maldonado, Tony La Rosa, El Flaco Jimenez, and I know Roberto Pulido was there. They have a statue of him, but I don't recall who else was there. But that was in 2000. His obituary says that he was a 32nd degree Mason and was a radio announcer of Chulas Fronteras for 53 years. Join me in welcoming Wilfredo Willie Lopez to the Texas Conjunto Music Hall of Fame. And here to receive the honor is his grandson, Michael Lopez from San Antonio.
We have grandson, granddaughter. This is the plaque. Very special. Wilfredo, Willie Lopez, in recognition for your commitment and outstanding contribution to conjunto music. Inducted June 23rd, 2018, San Benito, Texas. Very well deserved.
Thank you all for tonight. This highly is an honor. I wish my grandfather was here to accept this award, but Me and my sister are here. I had wrote something for him 2 days after he passed in 2011. It's dated 3/6. I never got a chance to read it out loud, so I kind of just wanted to share with you guys at this moment. Dear Abuelo, just these last days, I have been reminded of how great of a man you were. You were tall and confident with a stern but gentle approach. You were respected and spoken of in good and loving ways. Your example was led by your way of making someone smile, laugh, cry, or love about you. You helped mold the way for many. Some you never gave up on, and some you touched and others you lost. It has been shown to me by many of your devotion and contribution, this very night being just that, of your very self in every way. Thank you for being a person whom I only remember with good and positive memories. Thank you for loving me and accepting me and my family with open arms. You will always be a great example of the Lopez legacy and family. With love and respect, your grandson, Michael Lopez. Thank y'all.
Hi, my name is Natalia Lopez Comple, and I was the first grandchild. So growing up, basically, we would go visit my grandfather, and it was always, shh, be quiet. Your grandfather's recording. So we as kids, me and my 3 brothers, we couldn't play in the house because my grandmother would always be telling us, shh, no talking. Your grandfather's recording. So those are memories that we had growing up. I mean, he was very loving. Once he came out of his recording studio in the back of the house, then he was like grandpa. But he was very dedicated, like everybody was sharing. He crossed the bridge every day, in his little vehicles that he had. And so I'm just going to read in Spanish one of his poems that he authored. Hoy es buen día para todos. Hoy es buen día, un día como todos los demás, que ha llegado, que pasará y que no volverá jamás. Y por lo tanto, debemos poner en él la huella del bien para no tener de qué arrepentirnos después. Hagamos lo mejor que podamos para nosotros mismos, sin atropellar derechos ajenos, pues no hay ninguna necesidad de hacerlo. Porque todo lo que en el mundo existe pertenece a los en que vivimos. Pero todo tiene un precio y debemos de pagarlo, ya sea dando algo de nuestra pertenencia o bien con lo más sagrado del ser humano. ¿Qué es nuestro trabajo? El trabajo es el mejor negocio de la vida. El que trabaja todos los días nunca estará en bancarrota, nunca será una carga pública. Siempre se bastará a sí mismo por su propia iniciativa. Y esa es la mejor manera de vivir. Como personas, nada más una vez se vive en este mundo. Y si lo hacemos bien, con eso basta. No importa cuánto ganemos, cuánto hagamos o cuánto tengamos. Lo que sí importa es el bien que proporcionemos. Tratemos de servir a los demás como a nosotros mismos, con igualdad, rectitud y honestidad. Pues el servir a nuestros semejantes es tanto como servir a Dios. El que no vive para servir, no sirve para vivir. Debemos ser honestos para aceptar las cosas como son y no como uno quiere que sean para satisfacer caprichos y egoísmos. Y si no podemos obtener lo que deseamos, debemos de estar contentos con lo que tenemos. La vida, la inteligencia, el gran poder de la mente y la compañía de nuestros semejantes, pues estos son los más grandes regalos del cielo. Y si nosotros canalizamos nuestros pensamientos y acciones de acuerdo a la divina voluntad del Creador, nos daremos cuenta que estamos y en el paraíso que deseamos, al mismo tiempo que nos estamos ganando la gloria para el más allá. Y entonces seremos humanidad feliz. Autor Wilfredo Willie Lopez, maestro masón. Gracias.
Wow. Sentimental, such love. I want to go ahead and just make comment real quickly, and I don't think that we in the industry give enough credit to the disc jockeys who every day show up to work and play the music. Kind of like mailmen, like neither rain nor shine can keep them from showing up to the radio station, putting on the records, putting on the well, it used to be records, now it's CDs, or maybe now it's computers. It has changed over the years. But they still have a responsibility to their fans to program good music. And where would we producers be if we produced music and then it didn't go anywhere? So I am glad to see Mr. Willie Lopez inducted, and I'm glad to know of his wonderful contributions in the world of a disc jockey and radio personality. Now, I do, on a personal level, I do wish I'd have known that he was a master mechanic back then, because I could have sure used him. I know nothing about cars, so whenever I need something done on my car, I'll go somewhere and it's a little tail light, and they say, "Oh, that'll be $800." You know, what do I know? So it would have been great to know a master mechanic that cared about the people, because I'm not that guy. I get frustrated sometimes. But in any case, master mechanic and great radio personality, congratulations to Mr. Willie Lopez for this year's induction into the 17th annual 2018 Texas Tejano Conjunto Music Awards Hall of Fame and Museum.